punch press operator in a steel factory at Gem Curb and Gardner. Piecework. It was parts. You put in a big press and it bends them or punches them or shapes them. And it was like greasy, dirty, oily. I crushed my thumb right here. I got a little scar. I was there for 2 years. And they got these big wagons. You put the steel on and move them around. And I was coming down a ramp and the thing slid and steel. I had like 8, 10 stitches or something at Garden Hospital. Foreman come up to check on me and they told him how old I was. I was 17. What? I was fired. Whatever. But it was all good. About 5 years later, I went back there. I worked there again for another 6 months or something. And I'm like, this ain't for me. See ya. I worked for myself, mostly.
Of job.
The type of job. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some of the guys were still there. And they were old men, and they couldn't go nowhere else because that's all they ever did. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this for 30 years, you know? It's like people at Sterrett's. I know people work there all their life, and they get $200 a month for a pension. How you know? Yeah, did that. I don't have the license for it now, but I did that when I was like 15. I took a home study course, so I can pick most any locks, any handcuffs. I worked with escape artists for a few years, and that's why I did that. Yeah, it was a magician show, whatever. And it was all death-defying feats, but it was all rigged. Everything was set up. But he got hurt a few times. I built him this pillory where you put your hands and your head in the air with a pile of gunpowder, with a trail. One time he got burnt pretty good at Cobra Country Club in Barrie. Did a lot of shows here. We did a show right in this parking lot. We took handcuffs from police right at the lights. We took and locked him in Gardner jail. He walked right out. Locks are so easy, people don't understand. That's why they're always making new ones. Now they got magnet ones and this, that, whatever. I'm sure if you give me one in a couple hours, I can figure it right out. 'Cause I worked in a couple of machine shops for a year here, a year here, so I learned pretty good about mechanical stuff like that, whatever. And it was really easy. I got buckets of locks, I got piles of handcuffs. I can pick them all. Through drugs, yeah, partying. And I was a go-getter and needed help. So I did, whatever. I'm godfather to a couple of his kids. One's dead, OD'd. You know, because he was a tattoo artist. He was an artist, musician. He could play any instrument. Really talented guy. And I built most of his equipment. And I'm sure a lot of people around here remember it.
This escape
It was Roger Lavoie.
Roger Lavoie, yeah.
Yeah. He was a Houdini protege type guy like that, yeah. He was a drunken fool. Been married a few times. He got a flock of kids. He just ran from one to the next to the next. He was the biggest con artist you ever met. We were professional burglars. Never, ever, ever come close to getting caught. Never. Ever. Don't think you're too powerful. Somebody will always get you. And I saw it coming. I walked away. Thank you very much. But I learned a lot from it. Learned how to hustle for sure. Because everything in life is a hustle. And if you don't take on, somebody else is gonna. You can't leave something there. It's gonna be gone. And if you want it, you better grab it when it's there. And I was never one for half a loaf. A lot of people say, well, a half a loaf is better than nothing. I won't take it if it ain't a whole loaf, because how could I share with anybody? Because I always bring it back and give it to whoever needs it. And I would never take a half a loaf of anything. You got a partner, all right, we're going half and half, but we ain't. You ain't getting half, no matter what the deal is. It's gonna go to 6 different places. You're only gonna get a sixth of that. If you don't like it, we're not doing it again. See you later. Go on your own. I learned to walk away. Better than being in trouble more.
So we have this photo of you making wood land handle that wood land.
That's Joe Geister. when the casket shop first opened, I lived on this house in Freedom Street here. And me and Joe Geister set up that wood shop. I had my hammers, my saws, my benches, a lot of stuff in there. I set up 3 floors with him. Built all the assembly lines, put all the rollers in, put all the air lines in, built all the benches. I worked there for like 3 months, 6 months maybe. I got fired 3, 4, 5 times. It was all good. From rough lumber, planed down, ripped down, glued together. That was like a 6-way milling machine where we put the dowels through that made the handles on the side of them. Because I worked in a couple of machine shops. I worked in every wood shop you can name. And I built a lot of houses. And I knew them when they had a factory in Gardner, Hayward, Wakefield, because they were all jailbirds. And I knew them. And that's how I got in. And it was me and Joe for months. We did the first floor, set up all the saws, the planers, all that shit. Got them working, and we went upstairs, built all the assemblies, went upstairs, and it was 3 floors a long time. Not really, but it was just a job, and it was new, you know, and it was right across the street from my house. And that's why I went there. And I had a lot of jobs like that, lasted 3 months, 6 months. I can't stay nowhere too long. It's just too monotonous. If something gets to be a routine, time to go. Got to have different, more exciting things than same thing every day. I would never work in a place where I did the same thing every day. I know people that work all their life and they're waiting for their paycheck. They're borrowing on their paycheck. I mean, how stupid is that? Both times I was married, I had several credit cards. I haven't had a credit card in 25 years, and I am glad. I got an ATM card. If I don't got the money in there, too bad. That's it. I don't bounce it. It's $35 every time you do. And if you don't know, people say, I don't know, I got to call see how much money I got. I'm like, what are you, a fucking idiot? You don't know how much money you got? I know how much is in mine. Within a couple dollars, no matter what, you know. If you go fill your tank, you know what you just did. It was $42. What'd you had? All right. People worry too much and they don't know what they're doing and they just, I don't know. I've always been on my own, so I had to take care of whatever it was. I didn't have nobody to do whatever. I changed everything I did. I didn't follow what industry was doing. There was no cell phones. When the cell phones first come out, I was working for a phone company in Worcester selling phone cards when they first came out. The first cell phone I had was this monstrositous thing. You had to open it up and you had to pull the antenna out, and it was like, whatever. But that was only a few months too. I can't do this, you know. And every salesman is a liar and a cheat. All of them. I worked in a lot of different companies, and they're all liars and cheats. And they promise you the world. They smile right at you while they're taking your stuff. And you think, you know, a deal's supposed to be good on both parts. And that's why I quit most of my jobs, because it wasn't fair. Well, I had a few apartment houses, but that's 90% of them were people that, single women, had kids. I was sleeping with half of them. Half of them didn't pay rent no more. You know, and it's like, when I got out of it, I lost like $180,000 that year on rents that never collected. And what are you gonna do? Time to go. Whatever, I just moved on. Kept a few of them, and then I ended up with just this one here on Freedom Street. Lived there for another 3 years or something. Got married again, got divorced. I mortgaged the house 3 times, gave my wife half the money each time, and every time I let her back in, the judge said, she's your wife, you slept with her, she owns half of what you got again. 3 times that happened to me on that one house with my second wife. You know? And I just accepted it and said, the hell with it, you know? And I shouldn't have let her back in again, you know, whatever. It don't matter. It's all good, and it didn't matter. I didn't care about the money. I never cared about money. I got enough to get by, and if I don't, I'll go home and figure it out. I don't owe nobody nothing. I haven't in 20, 30 years. Not gonna ever have a bill again other than taxes, electric bill, car insurance, that's the only bills I got. I won't never, ever have a bill again. To be indebted to something is, you're locked down. You got a commitment.
It's not your
Can't
style.
be free.
Right.
You got to be free. You know, I could go do whatever I want for a week or a month or whatever. I don't have to be here Monday morning. If you're not there at 7, they dock your pay. That's never going to happen. I was in most every club here. I was in the barroom clubs. I was in the Bowman clubs. I was too much of a volunteer, and I ended up doing volunteer, and the other guys weren't, and I quit every club, and I'm not going to be a member ever, never, ever, ever again. Just because I can go in anywhere. I've been kicked out of every bar in town so many times you got no idea. But it doesn't matter. I can go in any of them. But to be in a club, you're committing yourself, and your time is not your own. Because they're always asking for somebody to do something. And I got a big mouth, and I always ended up volunteering. And it's like, I love the vets. My brother's a vet, does a lot here. We got the other building over here in back of the dairy bar, the old veterans building. I did the roof on that building all by myself 30-something years ago for like $200, all right? I went in, my brother's pretty big in there, and I did a lot of work on that building for nothing. I said, I need some help. I had 3 veterans gonna help me. And you gotta carry the shingles up on the roof, you know, and I got them down there, and not one of them would help. They said, oh, geez, I can't go up on the roof. I'm willing to help you, but what do you want me to do? I ended up doing it all by myself. And I don't believe in commitments. And I love all them guys, don't get me wrong. I'd still do anything for them. I helped them here a bunch of times already. I'll never believe when somebody says, oh, I'll do this for you. I'll say, yeah, I'll shake your hand after. If you did it, like you said you're gonna do it. 99% of them don't do half of what they say. And anybody that don't, they're off my list. You don't get another chance. Too many. They just want a handout. Or they want credit for something. They didn't do nothing. They were all good at first. Mm-hmm. I'd say Pequot Bowman Club was pretty good. I was hunting deer with bow and arrow, and I missed. 2 shots in a row I missed. I'm like, what? So I went to the Bowman Club and learned how to shoot. And then I ended up, I don't know what the dues was, $15 or $30 a year or something. It was nothing. But I worked for it instead. Ended up working a lot. And then they called me all the time. Oh, we need this, oh, we need this. Oh, all the other members, everybody's busy, nobody will help, this and that and the other thing. And I went to all the meetings for a couple of years, and I'm like, I'm all set. That's all good, whatever. And I've been members to most of them. I don't, I can go in any of them. I could go be a member in any of them, but then you're committed. I don't want to be committed. I was committed to too many things, and then my time's not mine. I can't just go if I want. Now I can just go if I want, do whatever I want. And I think it's the only way to be, unless you want to be committed. Now your life is stuck in this hole where you're committed. I don't think that's fair for people, and not to be any way, and I love women, but when you got a steady woman, they're too needy. They always want something. They always want to know where you are, what you're doing, how come you're there, why ain't you here? Oh, I got to stay with you now all the time? I can't go, if I'm going fishing, they think you're out doing something else, whatever. It's like, do what you do. I'll see you on the weekend maybe, whatever. It's too mind-boggling, and you don't have your own freedom. And that was probably why I got divorced every time, because I couldn't think for myself. I had to always think what I got to do to make sure they're all right, and it's like, come on, we're all of age here. Don't sit there and wait for me, ask me, just do it. If it's wrong, you'll learn good then. And that's how I learned lots of stuff, because I did it wrong. And now I know, don't do that, do this. Oh, no, in my 30s, 40s, I used to, we used to have a lunch at the dairy bar every day, all right? But they robbed you so bad, it was unbelievable. If I wanted to cash my check, he made you buy everybody a drink. And it's like, I don't know how many times You got to buy him a drink. And I remember one day when Omar was running the bar, this was years ago, he had 3 or 4 shots in front of him that people buy him, right? And I went to cash my check from the casket shop. We cashed it at the bar, had lunch there, went back, whatever, just because it's right there. Because I lived right there too, you know, whatever. I've been evicted and thrown out of there, but then he's let me use his car to go to Worcester or whatever too. So it's like, known him forever. And you bust them, they're mad at you, but then they forgive you the next day because you're spending $100 in there every other time you cash your check or whatever. They're money hungry. They're all greedy. And they all lie. Go over there and tell them something you don't want nobody to know. In 10 minutes, everybody knows about it. You know, and the story ain't the same. It changed 3 times before it got back to you. I stayed out of the town political things. I vote and all that, but I've been to a couple of town meetings and I've been kicked out. Probably because I interrupted their time, their minutes, and it wasn't my time or whatever. And I don't want to sit there and then be told, all right, next month, you know, because that's what they do. You go in, you say something, they say next month, and if they don't have it right, oh, next month. And then if it's, you know, and it's like, all right, 2 or 3 months went by. I get so frustrated. I went to town hall, the tax assessor, because my girlfriend's landlord was paying the taxes on a barn that belongs to the railroad. He used to have a house there and it burnt and it's gone. It's been gone for 40 years. The whole time he's been paying taxes on that other building because they said, because the tax assessor just assumed it, and at the time he just thought that that was his building. So for like 30 years he was paying taxes on the other building, and I did the research on the house she was living in and his other apartment houses, because I put in those metal carport sheds. You had to get a permit, everything, whatever. So when I got in there, I searched out those properties all around it and found out that he was paying taxes on that and it wasn't on his property. So I brought him into town hall. Ended up, they called the cops and the chief of police escorted me out of there and they stopped billing him. I said, I want reimbursement. I want free taxes for a while for all them years that he paid, and you guys don't recognize it? Well, they didn't do it. It was the guy 30 years ago that was the assessor, and they don't know why or how or who or what. I said, but he should be reimbursed. He should have free taxes for that time. And they didn't. They threw us out. You know, and that's why I get so mad at the town hall sometimes, because they don't care. And it wasn't them that did it, so they're not going to help you. They're busy. They ain't got time. They don't care. I'm mad at some of them to this day. Dick Kilhart. I am not happy with him, and you talk about me with him, and he'll be telling you he ain't happy with me, for sure.
Well, if you ever go to another town hall meeting, please call us first. I'd like to be a part of that. Okay.
Yeah. It's just backstabbers. If you don't do what they say, what they want, it's crazy. Kilhart used to work in Orange for the water department. All right, I was trapping beavers over Lake Mattawa. He stopped me because Fry was the head of the DPW, didn't want me to do it. And the people are there and they can get sick with that giardia from the beavers and it could kill them. All right? So I took the water to him to have it tested. He wouldn't do it. Fry don't want it done, don't do it. I said, okay, so I took it to the Board of Health. They tested it, found giardia, gave me the permit. I did the job. They didn't pay nothing. The people paid that was on the lake. Kilhart says, you'll never work in this town again. You're screwed. Get out. And I never did. Then he moved to Athol, took Doug Welch's place, and since then I've been out of the town. I've been kind of like blackballed from him, for sure. I worked for the town for 3 years for that retirement tax assessment. They take $700 of taxes off. You work whatever it was, 40 hours or something. I did it the first year. Paperwork wasn't done right, so I didn't get paid. The next year, with Doug Welch, he did it with me and we got it all right and I got that. And the next year I did it. I painted the backstops at the high school. I did a lot of work at the cemeteries. I did a lot of work. And when I went in for my credits, Kilhart says, oh no, I don't have no record of that. He says, here, fill out an application, you can try it again next year. And if we were in the bar, I would have beat him up. So, I mean, I got a lot of I'll never, ever sit at the same table with him. Never, never. Cut my throat hard. And there was no need of it. I'm 70. I'm good. I don't have a mortgage. I want to have peace in the next few years. You know what I mean? No. I still do a lot of things, but I don't charge no money for nothing. I don't need no money. I don't want no money. I don't want nobody's issues. And it's all issues.